I was raised being told, being introduced as a future next number one tennis player in the world. That's just a little pressure to add to your everyday pressure, right? So I was always under this impression that somehow winning was going to scratch this itch or reconcile this, this disconnect. And so you win and you win and you win, and it only sort of highlights the fact that it doesn't change anything. And the last thing I accomplished before I really went kind of south on myself, so to speak, was to get to number one in the world. That was the missing piece. And I did that at 5 years old. And when I got to number one, I was kind of let in on this dirty little secret that it really doesn't change anything. I mean, Monday you're going out there and having to prove it again. So that was a spiral in my life that took me all the way to about 140 in the world. I had to find my reason for playing. I took issue with not having choice in my life, right? But do any of us really have choice in our life? I mean, I think choice, as I have grown to learn, is quite the illusion. I mean, we don't get to choose where we're born, who our parents are, what our strengths, what our weaknesses are. All this is just, we think we have choice, but it doesn't mean we can't take ownership of it. And that's the journey I went on when I fell from number one to 140, is I had to say, I know I didn't choose this, but does that mean I can't take ownership of it? So I needed to find my reason for what I did.
And I want to talk about what that was like. You had to play challengers in Las Vegas and other places and sort of start from the ground up. Can you talk about that a little bit?
My coach sort of shut the door in the hotel room and, said, we're going to either quit or we're going to start over, right? So that's when I really went through, I would say that's when I really had an epiphany. Now, epiphanies don't change your life. It's what you do with them, right? But that's when I said I have to find my reason. My reason I saw this show on 60 Minutes, which was a KIP program, Knowledge is Power program, as a charter school operator. And I saw these two guys systemically changing these children's lives who really don't have choice in their life, right? That was a powerful moment for me because I realized that these kids don't have the luxury about bitching about being number one in the world at something, right? They're literally breaking the downward spiral. So I set out that day, literally overnight, to start my own charter school in the most economically challenged area of Las Vegas. And so I started to make my sport about something other than me, and I wanted to use tennis as a platform to change the lives of those that really don't have that choice. So when you say I was playing challengers, well, people looked at that as me being humbled. The humbling part was my demise to 140 in the world and the things I was doing myself. Being at that challenger, fighting on behalf of those kids, it's like I finally felt connected to something that I never was connected to my whole life. So, I was really motivated. I didn't know if I was going to ever be able to get to the top again, no doubt. But I did know that I could be better than where I was. I mean, that was a fact. So that became my daily focus is, can I get better today? My goals moved right in front of me. I wouldn't go to bed until I achieved what I was set out to do that day in a real bite-sized way. And I went about that progression. I didn't define success from a standpoint of winning. I defined it by getting the most out of myself on a sometimes an hourly basis. And that certainly built a lot of momentum in my life. I mean, I can't sit here and say there's a secret recipe to doing it. What I can say is that results are a complete distraction from you being the most of yourself. And results are a byproduct of you being the most of yourself.